Welcome in episode 68 live. Ramie and Drew on the YouTube channel and over on my Facebook page. I am Ramie Mackloff. That is Drew Flaggy. We're just a couple Milwaukee-based comedians who talk sports and all kinds of other bullshit, just whatever comes to mind. Are you okay over there? You're scratching real hard. You're scratching like my dog when he has an ear infection. What's going on? Are you all right?
That might have an ear infection. I don't know.
It's been a while. I didn't know that you got fleas. I didn't know that we've been it's been so long that we haven't talked that you got fleas. That's wild. You were just at my house for a cookout the other day. So I hope you didn't have fleas when you came over here, did you? Because I got a dog and all. I don't want him getting
no,
fleas.
it was just my ear itch, the inside of my ear itch. It's fine.
Okay.
I stuck my finger in there and I figured it out.
We have so much to talk about. The Bucs season is going to tip off tomorrow night with the NFC North is crazy. So, and the NBA season tipped off tonight. I know Bron and Bronny played together, but it sometimes takes a while for the audience to amass. So can we get something out of the way that I don't know if a lot of people care about, but I think it's kind of funny. I just mentioned the cookout is modern day Woody Harrelson from White Men Can't Jump your new aesthetic, like when you go out, because you came to my cookout in Bucks shorts, full compression leggings. What were the shoes? Can you tell me what the shoes were?
Yeah, those were Don issue 6s.
Don issue 6s and a white sleeveless compression shirt that looked that looked just like a very tight undershirt and a lot of nip, bro. A lot of nip. And then a couple days after that, I see you at an open mic, and you're basically in the same thing. Oh, and I forgot the headband as well. You had your Adidas headband on as well. And I see you at the open mic, and you're basically wearing the same thing. Is this your thing now? Is Hooper just your identity? Is this what we're going with?
No, I just came right from the gym.
Both days?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, we hadn't done this podcast in a minute, so like you missed like when we were just not doing this. I'm like, I guess I'll just stay at the gym longer, and that's just what I do now.
Oh,
down 37 pounds.
You are in good shape. I will say you are in good shape, and I could tell because your shirt was very tight. Was uncomfortably tight. I don't know if it was for you uncomfortable, but for everybody else, it was pretty uncomfortable how tight that shirt was. It was just a lot. It was a lot of nip, dude.
Tough shit, dude. Deal with
it. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I could go home and shower before I go do any of this other crap, but your engagement party I considered other crap. I just
Yeah, by the way, that's a development since the last. You said engagement party. That is a development since the last time we did this podcast. I did get engaged. I'm a fiance, and I got a fiance now. I'm gonna get married, and it's gonna be cool. Looking forward to it.
It's gonna be neat.
I did propose the idea that you officiate the wedding, Drew. That got shot down pretty hard.
Why? What's the lady's problem? I thought I was in good standing.
I think her problem is that you call her that lady. I think
I'll learn her name. I'll learn it for the wedding.
Yeah, it got shot down with authority. It got shot down with authority. So that is not happening.
If I wear less,
that is not happening.
Shirts, if I start wearing
I don't. Yeah, I think more shirt might help. I think she might come around if there were more shirt.
I'm wearing more shirt right now than I did at your engagement.
You really are. Yeah, you're more appropriately dressed right now than you were for that cookout on Saturday. I mean, it was a cookout. It wasn't the most formal of engagement parties, but yeah.
Honestly, I think it was pretty ballsy of me to wear white.
True. Yeah, a lot of food. There was a lot of food. By the way, how about that pulled pork? Huh?
Yeah, 14 hours.
22 hours, dude. 22 hours I smoked that pulled pork for. You know, I slept on the couch right inside the window from where the smoker was, so I could get up every 2 hours and tend to it. give it a little spritz, change the wood chips. You know what I mean? Make sure the temperature was where it needed to be. That's what I did for
That's
that
good.
pulled pork.
I see why she said yes. That's good commitment.
I did refer to it as the pork baby. I said I might have to sleep out here tonight to take care of the pork baby.
Yeah, that's
And
probably the best way to treat it.
she found that unsettling because we were eventually going to eat that thing, and we did, and it was delicious.
Yeah, I mean, when I make chili, I make sure that like I have a little timer running on my phone, so I go and stir it every half hour.
Yeah, you got to. Otherwise, the bottom will burn.
Oh.
You'll have burnt chili on the bottom.
Yeah, got to get to a solid simmer before I do that. It's got to get a little bit cold. Oh, this nice weather is kind of screwed with my chili make.
What do you mean? This is perfect chili weather.
Nah, it's got to get a little bit colder. It was like in the 70s today.
Yeah, I guess the last couple days have been pretty warm. It's the 50s though, and I made some chili last week. I think. Yeah, I think it was last week. I made some chili.
Good consistent cold where like I come in, maybe my nose is a little bit runny, and I just want some like chili. You know, it's. I gotta do it on a Saturday though, because I take way too long. Like one of our friends was like, "Why don't you do it for like a Packer game on like a Sunday?" And I was like, "I work on Sundays right up until basically kickoff, so there's no."
And also, like you said, chili takes time. Chili has to simmer. And the game, if the game is kicking off at noon, you're getting up to make chili like early, ass crack of dawn early.
Yeah, I'd be getting up at probably 6 to do it.
I don't want to do that. Although I did get up every 2 hours to take care of the pork baby.
Yeah.
So I guess
I'm dedicated. On my day off on Saturday, I was like, oh, I can sleep in, and I slept till 7 a.m. and then got up and then went to the gym, and then I went to your thing.
All right, real quick, we should get into the sports talk. That's what the people come here for. Drew Flaggy. It is Ramie and Drew. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Like, rate, review, subscribe, do all the stuff. Tell a friend how awesome this show is and how much you enjoy listening to it. Before we get into the Bucks, the NBA season did tip off tonight. The Celtics just beat the shit out of the New York Knicks tonight, and they could have set the record for NBA threes in a season opener, and they missed 13 straight to close the game. And it still didn't matter. They still beat the Knicks by double digits. I don't know, man. I know it was just one game, but I don't have a great feeling about that Knicks team following up on last year's performance after making the Karl Anthony Towns trade. I think they fucked with chemistry a little too much with that trade.
Yeah, so I mean there's two sides of that. One thing, the Celtics had most of their roster returning. What did they say? I think it was 13 of their 15 players return.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a team that won a championship. I think they said during the game tonight that's the most since the Pistons in like 05, 06 or whatever it was after winning a championship.
Yeah, it was like the 04 Pistons. So like that, like you can just tell that everybody's on the same page on that roster. Like that's fine. Like the Celtics are still going to be the team to beat. Just like last year when I said Denver was going to be the team that I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if they go back to the finals. Same thing with the Celtics this year. Jason Tatum can't be my whipping boy this year now. He's probably going to be playing a little bit looser. Like I was actually having this conversation with one of my friends who is a Celtics fan. And I was like, now it's like, what does he go for an MVP? It's like, because he would have to be a scorer. He'd have to like lead the league in scoring to win MVP now, because that team is so damn good top to bottom that they don't need any one person to just carry them. Like everybody can contribute top to bottom, which is going to be hard to beat for everybody. But then on the other side, the Knicks looked bad. Like, and they still shot like 51% for most of the game, But the Knicks looked, I mean, Brunson was just getting doubled on everything, and there was nobody who could hit a shot outside of Deuce McBride. Like, he was the only other one that could hit anything. Cat didn't really get involved in the offense all that much, and that was kind of weird. They just had no paint presence at all, and that was without Porzingis being out there for the Celtics. Yep. Like the Knicks, after they made that Cat trade, I was like, oh shit, they might be the number 2 team in the East. I'm like, no, I don't think they are. Like, it's gonna take a while to
see. I didn't like the trade, and I like Cat, but I just don't think Cat is a guy that you want to rest like the hopes of your franchise on. And I know they're not. I know that Jalen Brunson is kind of the dude there now. He's sort of stepped up into a role of being a dude, and until he doesn't play like that, he is that. You know what I mean? I didn't believe it at first, but he's done it for long enough now that I gotta go, yeah, he's kind of he's kind of a dude. But they're putting a lot of hopes on Karl Anthony Towns by making that trade, to trade two guys like Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. And I thought that team just had a certain chemistry last year where they really liked playing with each other. And I don't know that, and I'm not saying that people don't like playing with Cat, but I also don't think that type of chemistry is something that you just recreate, and certainly don't do it overnight. It takes time. And Karl Anthony Towns, he can't carry a franchise. Like if Jalen Brunson has a bad night or is injured and misses a stretch of games, Karl Anthony Towns isn't going to be the guy that they can ride. He's just not that dude. Very good basketball player. I just don't know that he fits in great with what they're doing. And I happen to know from being a Bulls fan that Tom Thibodeau teams have a shelf life, and that's 100% real. The way that he rides those guys and works his players and the minute loads that he puts on them, his teams have a shelf life for sure. And so I just don't know if the Celtics can follow up what they did last year.
You mean the Knicks?
Yeah, what did I say?
Yeah, you said the Celtics.
Oh, my bad.
The other thing, too, about like Thibodeau's teams, because we all know that he rides everybody into the ground, which I was shocked that he didn't have those guys try to fight and come back by the fourth quarter. That was weird that like Brunson got just shut down and everything. But there were a lot of questionable things in that game. Like Josh Hart was taking a lot of like threes and stuff, and like he was just missing wide open 3-pointers. And I mean, I actually had to pop open a couple of like the over under apps and everything. And like Josh Hart was only at like 8.5 points lined across the board through like everybody. So it's like they're not expecting him to score a lot as a starter on that team. But he took way too many threes, I think, tonight, and it was pretty bad. Yeah, that team just looked out of sync. There was a lot of them. A lot of times they were just standing around, like waiting for somebody to just kind of do something. And I said it reminded me of like middle schoolers at the gym, where it's like, okay, maybe you might be the best scorer on the floor, but you can't fucking move the ball. And it was just obnoxious watching them just get picked apart by the Celtics. It was comical at a certain point. And I don't like the Celtics. Like, they're still a team that I think about where I'm like, God damn it, like we have to face them. And like I hate them as a Bucks fan. But I'm just like, it was funny watching them just pick them apart. And it was everybody was involved in the Celtics. It was just watching them move. And I'm like, this Thibodeau team is just, I don't know. Like, also the other thing too is, remember Anthony Edwards last year in the playoffs was talking about Cat committing dumb fouls and not really knowing, like, like he's got to stop doing dumb things or get his head out of his ass and everything like that. Well, yeah, there's nobody tough on that Knicks team right now, I don't think either. I don't think Brunson's that tough. He's 6'1". I mean, he's a little guy. But the other thing too is like, I don't think Brunson's really like a mouth on that team. Like all the tough dudes are gone off that team now. Like they got rid of like Obi Toppin, a couple years ago. He's in Indiana now. And then they got rid of, I don't think Mitchell Robinson's on that team. And then Christian Hartenstein's gone too.
I didn't know he went to Oklahoma City till like a few days ago. That was a move that got lost in the shuffle for me and all the NBA offseason moves. That happens to me every offseason of every sport, where I'll like the first week or so that I turn on games, I'm like, oh shit, that guy went there, huh? Like, and I follow it pretty closely. I don't know how it slips through the cracks like that for me. Like when I know different sport, when I saw that Joe Mixon was on the Texans, the running back in week 1, I was like, oh fuck, they got Joe Mixon, because I knew they'd gotten Stephon Diggs in the offseason, and that's a big addition. But then you go and add a Joe Mixon, and I legit did not know that till week 1 of the NFL when I turned on the Texans game.
Oh, when I saw Mixon on the Texans like week 1, I was like, does he have a brother?
I straight up forgot about it. Forgot about it.
College. Didn't know he got drafted.
I want to get to the Bucks in just a second, but I just saw it because I missed it when it was live. I was setting up the pod, and it was I gotta say it was really sweet, and I didn't even have the sound up of Bron and Bronny coming into the game together. It was a really sweet moment. They showed LeBron's wife and Bronny's mom up in the stands clapping. She had tears in her eyes. They showed all the siblings. They were sitting there. They were real happy. to see dad and their brother out there on the court. That was a cool moment. I'm not. I know a lot of people are going to hate on it. I know you're probably going to hate on it, Drew. And like, do your thing. I'm not trying to stop you. I'm not trying to cancel out your hate. I think it's a cool story. Good for them. Good for the James family. I thought that was a really sweet moment.
Yeah, listen. Like I think everybody understands why Bronny is there outside Bronny and his dad. I think his mom probably has a better understanding of why her son is in the NBA than why his dad does.
I think LeBron knows and Bronny knows. You're just not going to come out and say that. Bronny's going to come out and say, "I know I'm only here because of my dad." You're not going to say that. And LeBron is going to say he's only here because of me. But right. we all know nobody has to come out and say it.
Like it trickles down to like the guys on TNT like Kenny. I love the NBA on TNT. I hate when they bring Draymond Green on to have just things to make that show suck. But you know what? Like tonight when Kenny had to sit there and talk about, this guy would have went higher up in the draft. Shut up. No, he wouldn't have. He would not have. He would not have made it higher in the draft.
No, he wouldn't.
He would have had to been really good. But they're like, oh, he was a top 5 All-American. Like, what? I don't. Whatever. Fine. Like,
I do remember when the story came out before the draft where they said that LeBron's people were telling people not to draft him because he'd go play in Europe because he wanted to play for the Lakers that bad. And if that indeed did happen, I bet you there were a bunch of teams around the league like, oh, okay, like we weren't gonna draft you anyways, dude. Like you didn't. That'd be like me walking around like, hey, nobody bother asking me to prom. All right, I got myself a date, y'all, and everybody be like, nobody was gonna ask you to prom. Nobody wants to go to prom with you, dude. That's the same thing as Bronny telling teams not to draft him.
Yeah, I think the funniest thing in the world could have been like a team like Portland just draft them. Just like we're like what? This is not
just to call their bluff.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I would love to be like, hey, you want to come play in Portland? You can be a start.
Yeah.
You can start next to Scoot Henderson,
and he would take that check, and he would take those minutes. He would take that run, and he'd be happy.
But it's like here's the thing. I don't blame him, but there's a certain level of shut up about it now because. It like all these guys are on social media. They all see it. This is what happened with the Ball brothers. This is what happened because LeVar Ball wouldn't shut his mouth and everybody hated Lonzo when he was coming into the league. But it had nothing to do with Lonzo's skills as a basketball player. It was because his fucking dad kept talking.
Or as a person. Like Lonzo's a good dude. That's what I've learned because I still follow the Bulls. Like I am a Bucks fan, but I still love my Bulls. And all that I've heard nothing but positive things about Lonzo Ball going through all the injuries he's had the last few seasons. But even when he first signed there, before he was injured, like model citizen, model teammate, and just brings everything to the court that he's got every time he's out there.
I like LaMelo. I think he's really fun to watch.
Yeah, I like the Ball brothers.
Yeah,
who thought we'd be saying that 5 years later?
But again, they had
such their dad
crap because of their dad. It had nothing to do with their skills as basketball players. Now, Bronny is not nearly as good coming in the league as either of the Ball brothers were. So it's like the fans aren't collectively stupid, except ESPN might think we are because they got rid of all the good analysts for the NBA. But like
they brought in Shams. I like Shams
too, but like. He had to sit there on a panel today with Windy and fucking
Kendrick Perkins. Yeah,
that was just a tent right there. It was just a cloud. And but like, no, they're gonna ride this Bronny thing all year long, and it's my favorite thing about the Lakers is they're winning right now pretty big. But my favorite thing is going to be when things aren't going well, and if it becomes time that maybe Bronny doesn't need to be playing as much as he is, and I'm waiting to see how JJ Redick reacts, especially as a Bucks fan, being so annoyed with the way he sat there and just talked shit on Doc Rivers. Be like, he doesn't take responsibility. I'm like, well, you have all the responsibility thrown on you because the GM named LeBron James, he's not gonna take responsibility for this
See, I
roster.
do, and he does play le GM, and I don't think it's a coincidence that his son is there, and I don't think it's a coincidence that his podcast co-host is there. He's definitely pulling strings in the Lakers organization and exercising the leverage that he has as one of the greatest players to ever step on a
Yeah,
basketball court. But I don't think, and I think it's obvious. He used that leverage to get Bronny drafted. He used that leverage to get Bronny a roster spot. I don't think it'll go much further than, and I do think he used his leverage to crowbar him into the rotation tonight to have that
yeah,
father son moment. But I don't think it'll go much further than that. I don't think he's gonna
right,
insist that he gets heavy minutes or serious run, because before anything, LeBron is gonna be trying to win basketball games, and he's not gonna have Bronny out there on the court instead of somebody who is effective.
right. No, I know that totally makes sense and stuff. And I mean, I think some of the hype of it will die down, and when everyone can't sit there and keep on telling everybody, don't believe your lying eyes, how good this guy really is. Like,
Right.
dude, he's going to get lost in the shuffle of the NBA. It's going to, the dog days will set in, and people are going to stop caring about the early season narratives and everything like that. I mean, it's the main thing that's going to take over the NBA like every year. It's going to be load management. Speaking of, Joel Embiid not playing tomorrow in the opener.
Already?
He's load managing game one.
No, he's not.
Embiid's not playing tomorrow.
Shut the fuck.
The
What?
76ers do not have Paul George or Embiid tomorrow.
Oh, dude, the East could be hilarious this year.
Oh, Embiid's not playing. He's not playing on Friday either. I think the Sixers play on Friday. They've already.
Well, he said him and Paul George. He said him and Paul George may never play back to backs again the rest of their career.
They're not playing in a back to back. They have Thursday off
No,
tomorrow.
I know. I'm just saying, like he's already looking that far ahead into
Is he
his
just not
load management.
a row?
Hey, real quick, this leads right into what I want to talk about with the Bucks. But Q is listening, and he commented on the YouTube page about the things we were talking about. Oh no, my computer just locked up. Hold on one sec. Let me get Q's comment up here. There it is. It said, "What's up, fuckers?
Nice.
What's up, Q?" And he followed that up with, "We can't judge the Knicks on one game. They are digesting like 4 major moves this offseason. We'll see what they look like in January, February." Yeah, obviously, I'm not saying they're done. That's
Right.
not. I'm not going that far. I'm just saying, like, they fucked with the chemistry quite a bit in New York this year. And like I said, I just think Coach I think Tom Thibodeau coach teams tend to have a shelf life, and I think they might be nearing it there.
Well, I mean, there are enough new roster moves and stuff that they need to actually like they need time to gel and everything like that. And it's fun. It's more fun for me to meme on this right now because the first couple games that the Bucks lost, last year. Damian Lillard, was that a mistake? He's probably miserable. So every shakeup trade, I'm just gonna say that about them. I'll bet your cat's pretty miserable being in New York right now. He probably hates it. That is the face of a man who hates it.
Man, that rumor had been out there for a long time that the Knicks had a thing for Cat and the Julius Randle. I hadn't heard DiVincenzo being involved in it, but obviously there would be other pieces. But the Julius Randle and pieces for Karl Anthony Towns move was something that was floating around the NBA rumor mill for a long time.
Well, apparently the Timberwolves did have their eye on DiVincenzo for a while. Like they were interested in swinging a trade for him back when he was in Golden State, and it just didn't work out because they didn't have they didn't have any pieces that like Golden State wanted in return.
You see him get spicy with Tom Thibodeau and Jalen Brunson's dad when they had their preseason game with the Timberwolves.
No.
Oh, you should go and look at that. He was at the free throw line, and he was barking at Tom Thibodeau. He said something about, "This is what happens when they let you run the show." And then afterwards, Jalen Brunson's dad, he's on the Knicks staff, he went after DiVincenzo, and they had to be separated when the two teams were going through the handshake line. It was something, and the mics picked up a lot of it. It was spicy. He was not happy with the Knicks organization about that whole deal.
Well, I was gonna say the last thing that I'll say before we get into the Bucks too.
Yeah, let's get into some Bucks talk. Go ahead.
Watching the Lakers Wolves right now.
I have it on. Yeah, I mean, we're talking and I'm looking at you, so I'm not paying that close of attention. But yeah, I have it on.
First half, Anthony Edwards yelling at everybody, "Wake up!" and everything. I'm like, dude, that's like the toughness that a cat needs. A guy like that, I think, on his team probably. And I
I
don't
love
think
Anthony Edwards.
I like Ant. I mean, Ant's a personality himself, but like, I don't think that they have a guy who will literally go and just be like, "Wake the fuck up!" Like it's just like, yeah, dude. Like I like that.
Did you see the behind the scenes of Anthony Edwards and Justin Jefferson's photo shoot where he
Yeah.
said he was talking about how good he'd be at football and said, I don't even really lift weights. He said, if I lifted weights, I'd be like Derrick Henry. He's, dude, I love the delusional confidence of Anthony Edwards. I wish I had the delusional confidence of Anthony Edwards. It's why he's so successful because there's nothing he doesn't think he can't do, and I love that about the dude, man.
No, he's hilarious.
He's the best. He's one of my favorite people in the league. But my favorite person in the league starts his season tomorrow, and that is Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew, it is Bucks season starting tomorrow. Let's go.
I thought you were gonna say Chris Middleton because I was like, oh wait, he's not playing either. I was literally Ian Peel meme when I saw that. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know. I got a string of texts from you when the news came that Chris Middleton probably wouldn't be ready for the season opener.
Yeah, I was pretty mad. I just hung that jersey right back up. I was gonna wear it first. I was gonna wear it to work tomorrow.
It does suck that this is going to be a thing again.
This is gonna be a thing until it's done. Like it's just gonna be a thing. No, I'm actually really excited for the game tomorrow, regardless.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not going to put a damper on the start of this season, is it? Dude, you have Giannis and Dame. Like, I know the idea is the big three, but there are teams that don't have that good a big two and the supporting cast that we're going to see tomorrow when they open the season. I'm okay. And I want Chris back. I want him back 100%. I want him to be the Chris that he was when they won a championship, because ultimately that was the vision and that gives you the best chance of winning a championship. But to start the season, I'm not going to freak out that they only have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Dame Lillard, both legitimate MVP candidates. Like that's more than enough against most teams on most nights in the NBA.
Oh, I'm not upset at all. Like, because I mean, I've said it a million times on here. Dame's my favorite player, dude. I'll watch every game if it's only him out there. If he's got to go 1-on-5, dude, I'm watching. Like he's my favorite. But like, you know, Giannis close second is my favorite. But like, I did actually watch all the preseason games. They were hard to watch in the second half a lot. I don't think that any of our young guys are going to get a whole lot of run this season if they keep playing the way that they did. The one thing I want the Bucks to do tomorrow, besides just straight up win this game, especially there's no excuse to really lose now without there being
no Embiid,
no Embiid, no Paul George.
Yeah.
What I really do expect to see is Damian Lillard score the ball while Giannis is out there. I don't want to see Dame scoring when Giannis hits the bench and then it's the Dame show and then Giannis comes back and then we go back to Giannis ISO ball. Like they didn't do that a lot in preseason, so I hope it carries over. But I would like to see Giannis screen and just Dame pull the ball, because if he starts hitting that 12, 15-foot jumper early, teams are going to have to start stepping up on him, and they can't just, like when Giannis starts to roll to the basket, they don't have to drop back and double him. It would be nice if they like have to plan for Giannis and Dame are both going to score the ball. And it just, you don't know where it's coming from. That's what they need. And that's the biggest thing through the whole season is that Damian Lillard, first of all, he looked really good in preseason, like just getting everybody involved. There were so many instances in the preseason where Dame could have scored several times and just been selfish, taking that ball, just put it up or just go to the rack with it, get to the line. And he was just trying to find his guys and, obviously get them on the same page as him. I like Gary Trent Jr. being on the team. I think that's going to be great. It's going to be way better than Malik Beasley.
Agreed. And I like the Daylon Wright move. And big picture wise, I just think, and I know this is gonna sound like maybe it even is excuse making, but I don't think you can really overestimate the impact of the type of offseason that Dame had last year. Like you said, knowing he wasn't going to get traded, so you can't go out and train the way you normally train, and that includes playing games and scrimmages to stay in game shape, because if he gets injured, then that wrecks any trade that might happen. I don't think that you can underestimate how hard it is to trade for a superstar like a Dame Lillard that late in the offseason and then integrate him. I don't think you can underestimate how hard it is to do that with a first-time head coach. I don't think you can underestimate how hard it is to do it when you change course and hire a new head coach mid-season. Like the fact that they're going to have a whole Dame has a regular offseason where he knows where he's going to be playing. He knows he's not going to be traded. He can have his regular offseason training and workouts. To have a whole offseason of Doc Rivers implementing things and just things more settled and steady going into the season, even though Chris Middleton isn't healthy and isn't playing. I think just having all that, you can't overestimate how valuable that is and how it'll translate on the court. I've said this all off season, Drew, and I said it when last season ended the way that it ended. I am not at all deterred or any less confident about the Bucks' chances of winning a championship this season based on how last season went. There's a whole list of factors, most of them that I just went through right there, that would explain why last season went the way that it did and why this season could be completely different.
Well, it's going to hinge on health. I mean, I think the Bucks are the one team that would be, you'd say,
Always.
at the top of the East, that I think any one extended amount of an injury or something like that could put us from being a 2 seed all the way down to the 6. I think that
Sure.
absolutely happen if something catastrophic happens, like another injury, like the things that I said, like Dame just being more assertive and more efficient is going to be like my number one thing for the season. Giannis, I have no critiques on. He's just going to do what Giannis does. Like, that's totally fine. Middleton being able to, if he can play 75% of the games, that would probably be nice. And then my other one is Bobby Portis needs to be able to be Bobby Portis on the road. He looked really good in preseason. He looked good. I mean, Brooks slimmed down also. So, like, and Brooks not playing, Doc's defense makes sense now. It's not like what they did last year where it's like they were running, still had guys like Adrian Griffin had Brook chasing point guards around the fucking perimeter, and then Brook had to go recover and he was getting blown by. Brook looks like he lost weight too. So, like, that helps. He looks like a little bit slimmer. So hopefully that helps a lot.
Is he walking around with shirts that are too tight with his nips all out?
Dude, they all wear the compression shirts under their jerseys.
I know. They're just not showing up to a party with it.
I think they do.
I don't think they do.
I
really don't. I really don't think they do.
They have NBA money. They have better clothes than me.
That's fair. And they have better showers at the facilities where they can get cleaned up and get dressed.
Yeah, I just didn't bring a change of clothes with me.
It's fine. I'm just fucking with you. I don't care.
There was a locker situation at the gym.
A locker situation?
People were breaking into the lockers, and so now I just carry my basketball bag with me.
Do they have like cable cutters? How are they breaking into the lockers? Don't you have a lock on your?
People said that people were breaking into them. Some people got like their backpacks taken out of it. So now I just carry my backpack with me.
Can't go anywhere in Joe Biden's America.
Right? People were they were in the bread lines and they started stealing stuff out of our lockers. I don't know. I'm not trying to get my Will Evo stolen while I go lift.
How many wins this season, Drew? How many wins for the Bucks this season? First of all, actually, before we get to that, what happens tomorrow? They're going to win, right? With no Joel Embiid, no Paul George. It's a Bucks win to start the season, right?
Fucking better be.
All right, good.
I mean, I'm like they're gonna win, but
All right.
fucking bad.
How
No,
many wins on this? How many wins on the season?
win prediction was I'm gonna go. This is gonna be high, but I'm gonna say 54.
Oh, I'm gonna go higher, 58.
You go 58. So that's putting us up
I
with like
think it's yeah, I think they're gonna be right there, dude. I really do. I think they're gonna be right there battling for a 1 or a 2 seed in
the
the
team.
Eastern Conference. You know what I'm seeing more and more of, like in the podcasters, the bloggers, the writers, et cetera, et cetera. And I told you, I was talking with in one of my I do some stuff for 670 The Score down in Chicago, and Chuck Swirsky, the voice of the Bulls, he was going on the air after me, so he was in the studio. We were chopping it up. He knows I'm a Bucks guy, and he brought up this point to me. But it's one I'm seeing more and more, which is that the Bucks are kind of being disrespected and flying under the radar for a team that has this much talent and has such an experienced coach, to the point where they're not going to be under the radar anymore. Like if that keeps being a story that's out there, that they're being disrespected and under the radar, they are no longer disrespected nor under the radar. But it's something that I'm hearing a lot of people say around this league, because when you look at a lot of the predictions and projections of the Eastern Conference, dude, I'm seeing the Bucks like fifth, sixth in a lot of these. And I don't see that. Obviously, it depends on health, like you said, and it always does. But you got to assume everybody's going to be healthy to start the season. That's how predictions and projections work. And then things happen and that changes or makes predictions wrong. But all things being equal and healthy, this is one of the 3 best teams in the Eastern Conference. One of the 2 best teams, if you ask me, and 3 is being generous.
Hey, did you just get an MLB notification that Fernando Valenzuela died?
I did not.
Yeah, I just got that right now. That's why I just went like, what? Like, yeah,
Oh
Fernando.
no. I thought I said something stupid. Oh no, that's sad. I love Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah, I just literally watched a documentary on him like a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, there it is on Twitter. Damn.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Sorry that I had to ruin our Bucks talk with that.
No, that's all right.
But
that's too bad.
I mean, still fuck the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, fuck the Dodgers for sure, but that is too bad.
And the Yankees. I mean, I'm rooting for Ohtani, but anyways, just because
it's only 64. Fuck.
Yeah, that sucks.
Fuck. All right, man. That sucks.
This has been a bad year to be an old athlete.
That's not even really that old.
I
or
know.
Am I just is this just me coping as a 45-year-old and seeing that that's
my dad's 61, so it's right there. I don't like that.
Damn.
Anyways,
Bucks flying under the radar.
Yeah, dude, that putting them at 6, I'm like, yeah, like I said 6, but that means that people have to be hurt. But I mean, like, okay, who else got hurt last? I mean, you said Tibbs runs his teams into the ground. Everybody on Cleveland got hurt last year too. Do we think that there's not a chance of a regression for that bitch boy team Indiana? Do you think that that Skippy bitch tits Halliburton out there really be? I've been training my body to be able to beat his ass, dude. Like, come back to Wisconsin, dude. Eat a cheese curd. I'll fuck you up. It's had enough of Tyrese Halliburton, dude. He's my new Jason Tatum.
I hope this gets back to him. I think Tyrese Halliburton could take you. Quite honestly, he's got height. He's got a lot of height and weight on you. But it'd be great. It'd be great for the pod. We'd go viral for sure.
He has a lisp.
So do I, dude.
Yeah, I know.
What are you saying? What are you saying about people with lisp? I can't even say the word lisp. That's how bad my lisp is.
Yeah, but you don't code change. Like, you don't code switch when you're talking to people.
See, I don't think, first of all, code switching is something people need to do to get by in this world. But secondly, I don't think he's doing that. I don't think he's doing that. His voice just changes mid-sentence. It's the weirdest fucking thing, dude. It's so weird. He can't even really seem to explain it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's the team that I'm going to hate on this year now. So it's going to be them. But no, I was like,
I do hate Skippy. Skippy big bitch tits is a.
I don't think Orlando got better. Like, you think what, sixth? You have to put Orlando and Indiana ahead of us.
I've seen people putting Orlando, Indiana, Cleveland. I'm still laughing at Skippy McBitch tits, but I've seen people put all three of those teams ahead of the Bucks. And then
Cleveland, I can see Cleveland because they have a lot of the same returning players too. Like, they're not
and then
Cleveland's.
Boston, Philly, New York. Yeah, I've seen all six of those teams that I just listed off. I don't think I've seen the Bucks lower than 6, but and I've seen all 6 of those teams in various, power rankings or predictions of how the Eastern Conference would go down. I've seen all 6 of those teams ahead of the Bucks in one prediction or another. It's crazy.
But I told somebody today that I was like, this is before Embiid was ruled out, and that happened earlier today. That was like I'm surprised you didn't see that. That happened at like 2:00 our time or something. But like, and like Doc Rivers was like asked about it, after like their practice, when he had his post practice media availability, and so like they knew about it pretty early that Embiid wasn't playing. And I was like, here, one of two scenarios. These are the two narratives that happen tomorrow. Either the Bucks beat Philly, and they go, yeah, but they didn't have Paul George. And you go, oh, okay. And it's like, or the Bucks lose to Philly, and this is back when it was going to be Maxey and Embiid against Dame and Giannis. And they go, the Dame and Giannis experiment is not working. They will never say, well, Chris Middleton didn't play. They didn't have their third best player. They're going to sit there and it's either Dame Giannis can't work but they didn't have Paul George. Yep. Those are going to be the two narratives depending on who won or lost tomorrow. And I was like, I'm annoyed by it. Like, it's because it's coming.
No, you're right. There is definitely
Windy again, that fat fuck. And like I said, I lost.
There's definitely a difference.
But that fat fuck. Dude, he's sitting there and he's talking again, like with he's got his hands up, like he's a fucking politician. And he's just like, well, they got to start thinking that if things go wrong, Giannis was talking about getting traded. Dude, Giannis needs to stick to dad jokes because everybody takes him so goddamn seriously. If it comes to the T word, if it comes to the word trade, it's like, dude.
Oh, you're talking about when he said, if I don't win a championship, I might get traded.
Yeah, it is like he knows they're not going to trade him. People will get traded if they fall short and it's a disastrous season, but it's not going to be him.
Yeah, I wish he didn't say stuff like that because there are a lot of stupid people out there who are going to take it the wrong way. But Absolutely. at the same time, I always say, let's not tippy toe around the stupid. You know what I mean? Like if a guy wants to be open and honest and transparent, I'm not going to begrudge him for that because certain people don't know how to digest that type of honesty or openness from a guy. Like that's just do we have to tippy toe around the ignorance of certain people? Because I don't believe in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is you're going to have fans that are going to panic because this is the best thing that we're ever going to have, probably. Like, we're never going to draft another Giannis, at least not for another 50 years. Like, we're not going to find some dude. But like how much everybody's under a microscope now, like across, like all like Europe and stuff. Like, it's not untapped anymore. Like, you're going to find guys.
Sure.
So like, it might be easier to draft somebody. Who knows? Maybe there's a draft class loaded of dudes from like Europe in like 10 years or something, and the Bucks find another Giannis. I don't know.
It can happen. Did you think you'd find another quarterback after Bart Starr and then after Brett Favre and then after Aaron Rodgers?
Right. It's like you like they might be able to find guys. Like, I would never say that it can't happen, but it's like to specifically find a guy that has like the work ethic and drive that Giannis does, that keeps improving year after year, like 12 years in. It's going to be hard to match that. But like, also the fact that like, and we talked about this like 30 episodes ago, how stupid the NBA discourse is on the national media. Like, it is dumb. I'm getting more out of kind of just looking out the side of my eyes watching this game than listening to fucking Candace Parker talk right now. Okay.
Yeah. Especially in the mainstream media. It's not good. Like
Wendy's an idiot. Kevin Perkins is an idiot. Then you get the podcasts that are somehow dumber than ours.
No, but there are some good podcasts out there. I actually thought LeBron and JJ Redick's podcast was pretty good. But what's the I don't know. It's
Duncan.
been the off season for a while. What's the name of that podcast?
Well, the
You like it
Dunkers.
a lot. The Dunker. Yes, that's a good one.
Nikias Duncan's podcast is good. And then I actually like Tim Legler. Like, I think Legs is good.
He's good.
But other than that, like, I'm like the national discourse is terrible. Like,
it's not great.
It's all Kardashian horseshit. Like, really, like, it's all just narratives and there we go, that's gonna collapse this time and everybody's gonna go to New York and save New York. I'm like, dude, they just got their dream players. And
is Kevin Lowe still doing his podcast even though he's not on ESPN anymore? Because he's got a good one.
You mean Zach Lowe?
Zach Lowe, my bad.
I would think, yeah, because the fact that they got rid of Zach Lowe was insane.
That's crazy. That is pretty crazy.
They fired all of their good analysts and stuff. And
yeah, that's pretty wild.
But Windhorst still has a job because he knew LeBron was making the decision fucking 15 years ago. What? Like, dude, that guy, like, he doesn't need any. He could go a year without paychecks. He's got the reserves of fat. That guy could stand to just quit being such a foul pig.
I actually think Windhorst is a good reporter in terms of like breaking stories and getting news, and he used to be like even better than he is now. When they use him as a personality, I think he's just fallen into the Stephen A. Smith trap of being hyperbolic and doing things that get the clicks is how you do that job. As a reporter, I think he's a good reporter. He knows people all over the league. He has sources. Yes, he rode LeBron's coattails to a lot of that. But yeah, as an analyst or a guy who's, a panelist on like an NBA Today show or something like that, he's just trying to do too much, man.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing where it's like, so then, Giannis says a thing that's kind of like, haha.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because, I mean, dude, like, remember when we won the championship, Giannis said that, he wanted to get traded to Chicago. He joked about that.
Oh, that would be cool.
Remember when he made that joke? Like, that was, but it's like, and then people were like, oh, it's like, dude, he's not going anywhere. Just stop. Like, he's fine. Like,
yeah, I don't think he is. I don't worry about that.
Did you see the picture that was going around all the socials today that like Giannis and his son were just like walking down the street in Milwaukee?
He loves it here.
Or like they like bought like a bag of a bag of groceries or something.
No, he genuinely loves it here and loves raising his kids here and everything. He loves Milwaukee, and I think things would have to get pretty bad within the Bucks for him to trade his life as a Buck and living in Milwaukee to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, what, like him and Steph are going to be the only two guys that don't move, that don't get traded, possibly?
It's possible. It's very, very possible.
It's going to piss me off the day that the Lakers start sniffing around Steph again.
All right, so I got him at 58. You got him at 56. Any other Bucks thoughts before we move? I did want to talk some football before we move on.
All right. No, yeah, I got him at 54.
Okay, 54. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll be the 1 or the 2 seed. 58 wins. Take the over. I don't know what the over under is, but I'm guessing it's under 58. I'm saying take the over.
Oh, I wouldn't take the over on that. Like, I mean, I'll bet you they're probably lined. I would say 49. I'll bet you they're lined at 49. I'm
gonna look it up right now. Bucks over under wins. 49. Oh no, that's last season. I'm sorry, that's last season. Bucks 49.5.
Wow, I'm pretty good at this, huh?
Yeah, you are. It's almost like you do it. It's almost like you're degenerate.
Yeah, but no, I mean, yeah, I'm going over. But like, I mean, remember, I was the one that I had the Brewers picked over too. Like before,
I take the over.
Yeah, remember when I said
I might take the over. I might put some. I might lay a little cheddar down, Drew.
Remember when I said the Brewers could win 84 games and then they won like fucking 96 and then we lost too?
Oh, is that what happened?
I fucking hate baseball.
All right, then let's talk football. Hey, Drew, are the Bears good? Is this a thing? Are the Bears a good football team? We'll get into the Packers in a second, but are the Bears good?
The Bears have to play their schedule. Given
Should I be happy?
Hold on.
Should I be excited?
Hold on.
Because I'm not used to this.
Packers fan speaking. Class of the North. Packers fan speaking.
Class of the... Okay, all right.
All right. Here's the thing.
Go ahead. All right.
You got to play the schedule that you were given.
Yes.
That being said,
yes,
Bears are playing their schedule very well.
They look pretty good. And I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not used to this.
Sure, but like they can't. It's like they can't be good, and then all of a sudden they get a harder schedule. Like they weren't good last year.
You know what I did a couple weeks ago during the Panthers game?
Yeah,
I took a nap. I took a nap in the second half with my football team up like 3 scores. I forgot what that was like. I forgot how peaceful that is on a Sunday afternoon to just. You're so relaxed. You're so relaxed about your football team that you just lay back and close your eyes and take a little nappy nap.
I love it when my team is so good I don't have to watch them. That's what you jump at.
That doesn't happen.
You know, like how I watch your mother. I'm like, yeah, that's all right. It's good enough. I can take a nap for like 3 episodes in a row. Wake up and I'm like, oh. Hanging chicks? Cool, nice.
Oh, that hits different though. I haven't taken that nap in a long time. It hits different.
You should never have to do that.
Forgot what that was like. Felt good.
Could you imagine if like I was like, hey dude, Bucks were playing the Celtics and we were up by 20 and just Damian Lillard and Giannis were out there doing their thing and I was able to just take a nap. Went and got an oil change right in the middle of the game.
Yeah, because
that would be insane. Something I waited for my entire fucking life, and then I'm like, well, I can just go to sleep now.
Sunday.
The fuck? The hell's going on?
I was so relaxed, Drew. Like usually I'm on edge during a Bears game or just angry.
You should be that watching sports. You should never.
It froze up for us.
You should never be happy watching sports.
Second, but just keep going. I'm usually either on edge or angry when the Bears are playing. Even when they win, it's 3 scores, and I was just so. No, it shouldn't always be that. It's nice to have a good anxiety-free win, and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it 2 weeks in a row now.
That's why bad teams exist, so you can be like, all right, like you know. That's
the thing. See, you don't understand. You don't understand what it is to. You don't understand what it's like to be me, Drew. We're just moving out of the tier of bad. The Bears are just moving out of the tier of bad, and it's reduced. It's lowering my anxiety, quite frankly.
Yeah, but I mean, what they got 3 divisional games coming up pretty soon.
They have 6 of their last 8 games are divisional games.
Yeah, your anxiety's going right back up when they got to play Minnesota, Detroit, and the Packers.
But there's a good chance they're going to be 6-2 or 7-3 by the time they come out of. Or hold on, no, 6 and.
Okay, but all 4 of us can't make the playoffs.
It's possible that they do, man. The NFC North is really good, and by the way, the Packers are good. I was asking you if the Bears are good. The Packers. That's a good football team, man. I was watching the game against the Texans on Sunday, and that's a really good they're dumb sometimes and careless sometimes in terms of the turnovers, but like to end up that deep on the wrong end of the turnover scale and still beat a team as good as the Texans is pretty impressive, man. And a few of those throws that Jordan Love made. I mean, we've been seeing it now for 12, 13 games. He turned it on in like week 10 of last year. We've been seeing throws like that, but man, a couple of those throws in that game against the Texans were just fucking dots. Like not a lot of guys can make a couple of those throws that Jordan Love made in that game on Sunday.
No, he's great. And like I was a little worried when he was coming off the leg injury, and he had a lot of air under the ball when again in that Vikings game, and he committed a couple had a couple bad passes in that one, and I was like, oh, is this going to be a lingering thing where he does that? And like my only issue with Jordan Love is sometimes he gets a little bit of that Brett Favre in him, and he decides to throw into like triple coverage. And
I saw somebody tweet I saw somebody tweet that it's like there's somebody sitting in a room somewhere with a switch that makes Jordan Love play like Aaron Rodgers and then like Brett Favre.
Oh yeah, I saw the angel and devil meme where it's like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers on one shoulder and Brett Favre on the other. Yeah, I saw that one too.
He's like, fuck it, air it out. And it's like, yeah, it's like that was the thing though, like with that Vikings game. If he would, like, he had that interception in the end zone, if he would have thrown it at the sideline, it's like no one can get that ball. Okay, you maybe have a better chance at coming back and at least getting a field goal on that drive or something. But it's like he threw it into double coverage into the end zone. He did have one to, what was it? Was it either Reed or Dobbs 2 weeks ago where he threw the ball into like triple coverage and he came it? That was crazy. And it's like, yeah, that's one of those that gets picked and you're like, what the fuck are you doing again?
The one this weekend in the back of the end zone to Tucker Kraft was in that if that's a hair later or a hair slower, that's getting intercepted by one of those two safeties who both were converging on the ball.
I was just getting to the Tucker Kraft one when I was like, yeah, he's done that. And it's like he's squeaked out 2 out of the 3 of those. But like a lot of his interceptions that he's thrown this year too haven't been his fault. They've hit guys in the hands, and the receivers have had a case of the dropsies. So it's Jordan Love's not the issue.
No, that defense is really good too, man. It's
awesome, dude.
It's a pretty good defense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Packers are a good team.
You haven't been able to say that in a long time, which brings us to the ultimate point, and you touched on this. The NFC North is really good. I don't know if it's still the case after Week 7 was played and the Bears were on the bye, but going into Week 7, they had the top 4 point differentials in the entire league. It was the first time since realignment in 2002 that that's happened, and I think it was like I read somewhere that it was the first time since 1970 something that 4 teams in the same division had 4 wins heading into Week 7 of an NFL season. Like this is a really, really good division. And you're right about the Bears. Like they have the most to prove of any of those 4 teams. But the way it looks right now, it looks like a really good division. And I think it's only happened once since they started doing the playoffs the way that actually I don't think it's ever happened, but they've only been doing this format of the playoffs for a few years now, that 4 teams from the same division came out into the playoffs. I think it could happen. A lot of it hinges on what the Bears do down the stretch with those 6 division games, but I think it could. I think it's a real possibility.
I think, and this is my hot take, I think the Vikings are going to collapse.
When you say collapse, you mean out of the playoffs?
I think they might fall to 3rd in the division. I think
really?
it's gonna end up being Lions and Packers. My thing is with the Vikings, I don't trust anything about that team. I think they're they're built on a house of cards. They're playing with a lot of house money right now. Their coach has them absolutely believing in the fuck. Jaden McDaniels just fouled out with 9 minutes left in the game.
What?
Idiot. We got 9 minutes and 40 seconds of Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, he did. I'm looking at it right now. How the fuck?
Foul out. Jesus. Okay. He was probably breathing on Bronny or something like that.
Yeah. It's
but no, it's like I just, again, that Vikings game against the Packers, they beat us, but they scored 3 points in the second half, and you allowed the Packers to rattle off 28 straight points.
I mean, it would be very Vikings.
Hold on, with Jordan Love coming off in like a knee injury, dude, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on them. And then it's like they squeaked by and beat another team too. It's like, dude, they just keep squeaking by, and it's like, yeah, you're winning these games, and you can't go back and like be like, well, if we rewind the clock and maybe we make one better pass. Like, yeah, the win's the win, but it's like I don't know that teams don't adjust to them, especially divisional games where you have to see them more than once.
Yeah, twice a year.
What?
I was just saying that they have to see these teams twice a year. But I was also going to say it would be the most Vikings thing ever for them to collapse. When I got my job at Score North in Minneapolis, it was a really cool thing that they did. I think more radio stations that bring in out of town hosts should do this. They had one of their producers just put together like a cliff notes of the last, I don't know, 40 or 50 years of Minnesota sports, just so I could like get a real idea of what fans have been through. You know what I mean? And it was just the saddest, most tragic cliff notes of a sports scene that I think you could possibly come up with. Like it's just a history of getting people's hopes up and letting them down. There's only been one other team that started 5-0 in the modern NFL and didn't go on to make the playoffs, and it was the Minnesota Vikings, and it was with a quarterback named Sam, who was supposed to be their backup and was performing way above expectations before he got hurt. It was Sam Bradford that time and Sam Darnold this time. So it would be very Minnesota for it to happen. I do think they're legit, though. I think they're a really good football team, and I think they're a really well coached football team. I've been a Kevin O'Connell guy since they hired him.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think Kevin O'Connell's got them all bought in on like what they're doing up there, but I'm like that they teams have adjusted to them mid-game, and just LaFleur's good at making adjustments at halftime. Like that's the one thing that really impresses me about like what the Packers have done this year, is how they look like a different team that figured something out coming out of the tunnel again.
Here's what makes me think, and then we should wrap it up. Oh my God, we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. But here's what makes me think that that all four teams from this division could make the playoffs. I will concede that the Bears probably finish in last. I sit here before you with a Bears hat upon thine head, but I will concede that the Bears probably finish in last. But here's the thing. These next few games that the Bears have, they have Washington this week, and then they have Arizona and New England. Those are 3 winnable games. But even if they just win 2 of those games, they come out of that stretch 6-3, going into that back half of the schedule that I talked about, where they have 6 division games out of 8, and they have the 49ers and the Seahawks with the other 2. That's a really tough 8-game stretch. But if they come out of that stretch with 7 wins, if they go into that tough 8-game stretch with 7 wins, 2, maybe 3 wins in the back half of the schedule, and they're in. 9 or 10 wins gets you in. And that's as the last place team in the NFC North. They could very well have 9 or 10 wins. And that's why I say 4 teams out of the North could make the playoffs, including the last place Bears, if that indeed will be the case.
They could, but you should be worried if they lose to like Arizona.
Yeah, for sure. And I still have questions about this team. I'm not sold on Eberflus. I'm not sold on the offensive line. I'm not sold on the offensive coordinator necessarily, but it's looked good for a few weeks now.
No, I'm mostly interested in when the Packers actually play the Bears, because I want to see our secondary go up against your god, Caleb Williams.
And the arsenal of weapons that he has.
I want Xavier McKinney standing over one of them being like, "Is this your king?" Like it's
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is our king. When does that happen? Let me check. I'm not going to bother. It's going to take too long to check the schedule. Any last thoughts, Drew Flaggy, before we wrap this thing up?
Nope. I'm just going to have trouble sleeping tonight because I want to watch the Bucks play tomorrow. I'm just excited.
It's like a kid on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, the Bucks ain't playing on Christmas this year because,
because they only have one of the best 3 players in the world. Anyone want to put that on the national stage?
We're going to come in 14th in the East because that's what ESPN says, and Giannis wants out.
Where are we watching the game tomorrow? Or is that a conversation we should have after I hit the end stream button?
No, I don't. Well, I'll just say I'm leaning towards lefts, I think.
All right. Lefts in Tosa, right? Yeah. All right. Have I been there before?
I always watch the season opener at lefts. I think I'm just going to do that. It just seems right to do it.
I think I've been there before.
I love lefts. Lefts is awesome.
All right. Well, I hope I love it too. Anybody want to come say hi? Say hi.
Yeah. I was going to say Natty Oaks, they do have ecto coolers though.
So Natty Oaks done? We'll be at one of those 2 locations tomorrow.
I got to cheat on one of my 2 favorite bars. This is what's going to happen. One of them's getting cheated on tomorrow.
We'll be at one of those 2 tomorrow for the Bucks opener. That is Drew Flaggy. I'm Ramie Makhlouf. This is Ramie and Drew, episode 68, and we will talk to you next time. Please follow, like, rate, review on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, tell a friend, how much you love this show, and let's get this Buck season started. We'll talk to you next time. Yes, end stream. All right.
Yep.
There